Hello there, welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines in the Thames Valley. Police think a petrol can attack on a mosque in Oxford was a hate crime and could be related to the unrest in Gaza. The community calls for calm.
It's something we wouldn't expect from the people of Oxford. Some are in disbelief, some do feel unsafe.
Another milestone for HS2 in Aylesbury, with this new viaduct weeks after the government announced they're abandoning part of the project.
Also this Monday, Reading football fans demand change at the top as the helicopter of a famous businessman brings new excitement.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you.
And it was one of the biggest hits of the 80s. 36 years on, Rick Astley talks about that song as he goes on tour in the South. Good evening. An imam says members of the Muslim community in Oxford are in disbelief and some feel unsafe following an attack on a mosque in the city.
A petrol can was thrown at the central Oxford Mosque on Saturday. Police are treating it as a hate crime which could be related to the conflict in Israel and Gaza.
Officers have been carrying out extra patrols in Oxford. Cara Digby has more.
Well, this incident has saddened and shocked people right across Oxford. It was just at around 10:30 a.m. on Saturday morning when someone approached the entrance and threw a red petrol can over the wall and into the car park. Well, luckily the can was empty and no one was injured. But there was writing on the can, which is believed to be related to the ongoing conflict in Israel and Gaza. Well, worshippers at the mosque say they're heartbroken that someone would do this, but that it remains open to everyone. The imam here believes it might have been a target because of the Palestinian flags hanging up outside.
A shocking reaction is something we wouldn't expect from the people of Oxford or the community of Oxford. So some are in disbelief, some do feel unsafe, but our religion teaches us to be patient and, to use our wisdom and take it from there. As again, our religion, we look after everybody. So wherever there is loss of life, especially innocent life, we stand with them, whether they be the people of Palestine, people of Kashmir or wherever around the globe, we stand with them. That's what our religion teaches us. Not only Muslims, but non-Muslims also and non-faiths also.
Well, leaders in Oxford had jointly condemned this hate crime and say everyone, no matter their religion or background, deserves to feel safe here.
It's really important that in our city of Oxford, everyone feels safe. There's no place for any form of hate crime, whether that's Islamophobic, anti-Semitic or any form of racism, really isn't something we should be ever seeing on our streets.
Well, Thames Valley Police are investigating the incident and say that anyone with information should get in touch on 101.
Cara Digby reporting there. An ice hockey team in Oxfordshire will introduce mandatory neck guards after the death of a Nottingham Panthers player, Adam Johnson. Oxford City Stars announced the move after the 29-year-old forward suffered a fatal injury on Saturday. Oxford said the guards would become a non-negotiable component of their attire for all players and coaching staff.
Officers investigating a dog attack in Basingstoke have arrested a 46-year-old man from the town. Another dog and its owner suffered minor injuries during the incident at Winklebury Centre on the 12th of October. He was also arrested on suspicion of possessing a fighting dog, possessing an offensive weapon and possessing a Class B drug. He has been bailed with conditions until the 30th of January.
The family of a man who died in a crash near Basingstoke say he was taken far too soon. Craig Long, who was 52, was involved in a collision on Aldermaston Road on the 19th of October. He was pronounced dead at the scene. His loved one said he will be missed greatly by his wife, children, family and friends. Police would like to speak to anyone who saw the collision or who has dashcam footage.
A man remains in hospital with serious facial injuries after being attacked in Oxford. Police have released CCTV images of 3 men who may have information about what happened on New Road in the early hours of Sunday morning. The victim, a man in his 20s, was repeatedly punched and kicked. Officers want the men in the pictures or anyone who knows them to get in touch.
The construction of the HS2 rail line has taken a major step forward as engineers carry out work on a giant viaduct which will be installed in the Thames Valley. The
880-metre-long structure will cross the River Thames outside Aylesbury, carrying HS2 trains between London and Birmingham.
Well, meanwhile, normal train services have resumed in Buckinghamshire after months of disruption caused by the HS2 project. Wesley Smith has more.
Blight or boon, HS2 certainly divides opinion, especially as it's no longer going to run beyond Birmingham. The arguments over its effect on wildlife, landscape and the community rage on, particularly along the route in this part of Buckinghamshire. But whatever your opinion of the high-speed rail project as a whole, few could fail to be impressed at this engineering feat, said to be a UK first, as massive pre-constructed pieces, not unlike toy building blocks, are craned in to form the Thames Valley Viaduct near Wadston.
It's a first in the UK in that all of the major elements of the bridge are being precast off-site and delivered to site and erected and stitched together very, very quickly. The construction of the elements is done in a dedicated factory, so that it's done in factory conditions rather than outside where you're open to the elements.
The beams and other viaduct supports are brought over by road from the factory on the Isle of Grain in Kent. HS2 Limited say they're conscious of disruptions to people who live locally, so using this construction method to keep the rail above the floodplain means that inconvenience is reduced.
The team have to be here in all weathers. In fact, this morning we've had sunshine, we've had rain. But it's not a viaduct in the conventional sense with the big arches. In fact, it's only 3 metres above ground. But what it is unique for the UK in that they're using a system trialled on the Spanish HS2 system to connect north and south through Buckinghamshire.
Also today, the Chiltern railway line between Aylesbury and Princes Risborough reopened after 10 weeks' work on new track, allowing HS2 to construct new high-speed lines under a new steel bridge.
Well, it's quite tricky, but in the end, you have to take it from the point of view that nobody chose to live near a construction site. So we know that, we get that. And it's important that we are as respectful as we can to minimize any impact we have on the community. So, like doing things like trying to do more off-site manufacture, like doing elements like bringing some of the material that we're bringing by rail, because any construction project will have some disruption, but it's very important for us to try to minimize that as much as possible.
880 metres of viaduct have to be slotted together at the rate of 3 sections a week, making the backbone of the viaduct. Much of the rest of the track is being built in tunnels, which will one day carry passengers at up to 225 miles an hour. Unloved by many locally, but undoubtedly one of Britain's biggest engineering projects for generations. Wesley Smith, ITV News, near Aylesbury.
Another £1 million is to be spent on making Thames Valley communities safer. The monies come from the Home Office Safer Streets Fund and will be spent on crime prevention measures, tackling antisocial behaviour, theft and violence against women and girls.
The bridge that links Goring and Streatley has reopened for rush hour traffic after a week-long closure. Shops say trade has been down by 50% due to an 11-mile diversion for urgent gas repairs, costing them thousands of pounds. The bridge is a key link between West Berkshire and Oxfordshire, used by thousands of drivers. Southern Gas have apologised, saying the work was vital and half-term week was the least disruptive.
People in Oxfordshire are being reminded not to put pieces of metal in their recycling bins. Objects that can't be recycled include nails, screws, razors and washers and can contaminate loads that they're put in with. South Oxfordshire District Council says these should go in the black bin instead.
You're watching ITV News Meridian here in the Thames Valley. Still to come. Chances are you'll be carving out one of these for Halloween. How to make sure nothing goes to waste. Top tips from a former Bake-Off contestant.
Well, for more on all our stories today, you can of course go to our website. itv.com/Meridian is the address. 0808 1010 095 is our phone number, and you can find us and follow us on social media.
And the ITV Evening News continues with the national and international news at 6:30 with a preview. Mary Nightingale.
Coming up on the programme, Israel expands its ground operations with the UN warning Gaza is at breaking point. Israel's Defence Force says it is moving ahead according to plan as the humanitarian crisis in Gaza deepens. Concerns for the hostages taken by Hamas are intensifying. 22-year-old Shani Luke today was confirmed dead by her family. Here, one of Boris Johnson's top aides is put on the spot at the COVID inquiry. And the fishermen looking to ensure the future of the industry by releasing thousands of tiny baby lobsters at sea. Do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Before that, let's talk about the sport. Sarah joins us in the studio. Sarah, could there be a takeover on the cards for Reading?
Well, Matt, there's lots of rumours and it's all down to helicopters being spotted outside the stadium. Reading fans were intrigued to see the two helicopters belonging to the Ashley Group at the weekend, with speculation former Newcastle United owner Mike Ashley might be interested in getting back into football. Certainly, Reading fans are desperate for change. Around 2,000 supporters marched to the stadium on Saturday, calling for the club's owner Dai Yong to sell up. Mike Ashley, who owns Sports Direct, sold Newcastle for £300 million a couple of years ago. Former Royal striker Dave Kitson says whatever happens, change is needed.
We're just concerned that things are going to get worse, and we've seen it before at other clubs. So we know the perils and we know the danger of what can happen in football if our football clubs are mismanaged. You know, football does have an ownership problem, and just because you're in League One, out of sight, out of mind, it doesn't mean that it's any less important. You can see that by the amount of people that have turned up here today.
Well, on the pitch, Reading initially stunned the league leaders with Lewis Wing and Charlie Savage giving the Royals a shock lead with 2 goals in the space of 4 minutes midway through the first half. Tino Anjorin on loan from Chelsea reduced the deficit before top scorer Colby Bishop levelled things up, and Terry Devlin then struck home what proved to be the winner, keeping Pompey in top spot.
It's been a jolly good October for Southampton, who are now 6 matches unbeaten and up to 4th in the Championship, leaving new Birmingham manager Wayne Rooney glum, as Taylor Harwood-Bellis's first goal for the club was followed up by Charlie Alcaraz's first of the season in the league. And although the Saints weren't able to record their second clean sheet of the season, they are the 3rd highest goal scorers in the division, captain Adam Armstrong wrapping up a convincing win.
Some good results there. And in Leagues 1 and 2 now, we start with Oxford United, who struck late from the spot to hold on to their place just beneath Portsmouth at the top of the table. In a dramatic match featuring 3 second-half penalties, substitute Cameron Brannigan put away the crucial final spot kick in the 6th minute of added time after Mark Harris was tripped just inside the area, giving Oxford a point from the visit of local rivals Wycombe and keeping the U's in 2nd place. Ruben Rodriguez fired the U's in front in the 25th minute with a volleyed finish before Wanderers took the lead through 2 contested spot kicks, causing an angry Liam Manning to be sent off. But Oxford were not to be denied as Brannigan made no mistake deep into stoppage time. More late goals in League 2 between MK Dons and Swindon Town. The Dons' late own goal proved enough to earn them victory, despite Fraser Blake Tracy's last-minute scare. Ronan Darcy's opener for Crawley at Forest Green Rovers looked to have the Sussex side en route to victory. The hosts, though, completed a comeback to claim 3 points to take them clear of the relegation zone. And those of you who know about my allegiances will know that part of that report was tricky for me, but we're very professional here, aren't we? Well done, Oxford.
It did sound like you had gritted teeth when you said it was just inside the penalty area.
Maybe slightly.
Yes. You did very well, Sarah, thank you.
Sarah gone, Wycombe Wanderers.
Yes. Now, it's Halloween tomorrow, of course, but how often do you find yourself hollowing out a pumpkin and then not doing anything with the leftovers? We've been asking people what they do with theirs. Have a listen.
So I scrape all the seeds out, then I wash them, roast them,
deep fry them, and then cover them in a sort of spice mix called the dukkha, which is coriander, cumin and fennel. And then, I normally use that as a garnish for loads of dishes, for example, gnocchi.
After we've carved it, they usually will go into our compost bin, and I think my wife has tried to grow a few in the past.
So instead of throwing it away, which a lot of people do, I think you can make it into soup, you can make it into like the pumpkin pie.
Normally we just scoop them out and don't do anything with it, but this year we've grown our own little pumpkins, so I might do something special with them.
Well, it is possible
I feel bad now, sorry.
to make decorations and not waste the insides of whatever you're carving.
It's all down apparently to choosing the right member of the pumpkin family for your lantern in the first place. James Webster's been to meet the former Great British Bake Off contestant Helena Garcia, who's got a very simple recipe we can all follow.
So Helena, what are we making today?
I thought we'll make a pumpkin pie because it's very easy to make. You don't even need an electric mixer. The majority of people will get the traditional jack-o'-lantern to carve on Halloween. It is actually not the best pumpkin to eat because it's very watery, it's very stringy. What I've done is baked butternut squash, which is the same family as pumpkins. Bake it in the oven, no salt, no butter, nothing, for half an hour. In we go. I'm gonna puree quite a lot because you want the filling of your pumpkin pie to be quite smooth. That should do it.
So is this a recipe you created?
This is a recipe actually that comes from my latest book, the Book of Gingerbread, in which I've actually made the pastry with the ingredients of gingerbread, so with all the spices that you use for gingerbread. So for the filling of the pumpkin pie, we go in with our pumpkin puree, 1 egg and an egg yolk, a cup of evaporated milk, a cup of sugar. We go in with our spices, so that is ginger, cinnamon and cloves. And I like to grate a little bit of fresh grated nutmeg. This is very autumnal but also a wintry recipe. And finally, a tablespoon of flour. We mix it by hand, you don't need an electric mixer.
I can smell the flavours coming out of that already.
Right, and I've used a pre-rolled short crust pastry. You go straight in with an unbaked pastry case. That's your pumpkin pie already ready to go in the oven, and we're gonna bake it for about 30 to 40 minutes. The texture that we're looking for is the texture of a flan or a custard tart. We serve the pumpkin pie with lightly whipped cream that is lovely when you add a little bit of ginger syrup for flavor and sweetness. What do you think?
I can taste the nutmeg. That's really nicely flavoured.
It does make a difference, the nutmeg.
That is yummy.
Well, James, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Sure, it was nice. We didn't get any.
No.
Now,
Look like a faff. Sorry, carry on.
Now, a singer who's been in the music business for more than 3 decades.
Yes, Rick Astley has recently released his 9th album, which was written, produced and almost entirely performed at his home studio.
And he's a busy man. As well as an album, he's preparing for an arena tour next year, heading to Bournemouth. And Natalie Bohr has been to meet him.
He's the 80s legend who gained a huge fan following with hits like this. And this.
Hold me in your arms. I won't feel better.
And this.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you.
And 36 years after he shot to fame, Rick Astley's still gaining new fans and enjoying chart success with his latest album.
I'll keep on working until the sun goes down. I'll keep on smiling. I'll be a circus clown. I'll keep on smiling and working and smiling for you.
Do you ever get nervous though when it comes to releasing an album?
What will be, you know what I mean? It's kind of, the thing about making my records these days, the way I do it, I'm just doing what I did that year. This summer, I did this. And I think that's a really nice way to approach it, rather than we're going to try and beat this or do that or what have you. It's just that's what I was capable of this summer. It's as good as it's going to get, because it ain't going to get any better.
And you've got a rather unusual story about the video for Never Gonna Stop. Tell me about that.
My wife and I were in Denmark. We'd kind of run out of time to make a video, which sounds crazy, but that's what happened. And we just decided to run down to the beach with a phone, and there's a really beautiful wood by the beach. We just decided to shoot some stuff and have a bit of fun on the beach. But literally we just had a phone, and we had another phone playing the music in my pocket. So we've kind of gone from that to the next video for a song called Forever and More, and we've got Simon Pegg directing it. And he, because he's Simon Pegg, brings with him this crew who happen to be making giant movies with him. Okay, I'll say it, Mission Impossible.
I was going to say it if you did.
Came and jumped in and shot the video for him.
Now, you were just 21 when Never Gonna Give You Up hit the charts. What was it like being thrown into the spotlight at that age?
The thing about having your first record be your biggest record is a bit strange, because it would have been nice to have a gradual, you know, heading up the charts here and there and getting a feel for it, but that really didn't happen to me. It was kind of like first one was #1, kind of right around the world, to be honest, America as well. So yeah, I think if anything, it kind of made me go in my shell a little bit, to be honest. I don't regret it. There's no way I'd change it, but it was pretty crazy.
And you got to perform at Glastonbury this year. Did you ever think that you'd be performing at Glastonbury?
When you get to a certain age, I think you start to believe that certain things are kind of gone. They're passed you by. So Glastonbury was one of those. I kind of thought, well, I'll never get to do that, because it wasn't really a big deal when I was having my hits back in the 80s. It was great. I really, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed every second of it. Our daughter was with us. We had loads of friends and family as well. And our daughter said to me, because I was getting a bit worked up and nervous, and she said, just chill out, just go and enjoy it. Go and treat it like any other gig.
You're heading out on tour next year.
Yeah.
What's it like being able to perform the new tracks for fans in person?
I think that's what every artist wants to do. You want to play your new songs, obviously, and obviously I've got songs that are 30-something years old. So even though we'll always play them, because, you know, I'd get thrown out of the building if I didn't, I want to play new songs, of course I do. And the most amazing thing is that since I made the record 50 about 7 years ago, because yes, I'm 57, people kind of sit and stay and wait and get involved in the new ones, which is amazing, you know, because that's most artists' dread, is that everybody goes to the bathroom when you do your new song. Do you know what I mean? And
you recently revealed that you've got hearing aids, or you're wearing hearing aids. When did you notice?
I've noticed over the last few years, and I mean, for instance, in this scenario now, I'm hearing everything you're saying. I'm not wearing them at the moment because obviously we're about to start rehearsing again, and then I have to put my own ears in, kind of thing. It's usually like if you're in a restaurant or you've got a bunch of people at your house and you're having a big dinner party or something. I'm not really hearing what anyone's saying down the bottom end. It just becomes, you know, a noise. It's more like just to live a more full life, to be honest, and actually hear what's going on.
So you've got a busy few months ahead.
Yep.
What do you do to chill out and relax?
I think because I get to do such amazing stuff at times, that sometimes what I want to do is just go home, go for a walk, get a coffee, come back, go to the movies that night. That to me is perfect. That's exactly what I want to be doing, you know?
Rick Astley, it's fantastic to meet you. Wishing you every success with the tour and the album.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
I love Rick Astley.
Yeah, he's brilliant. In Bournemouth next year.
Brilliant.
Weather now, Sally.
Whatever the weather, it always feels like home. Valent Heat Pumps and Boilers sponsor ITV Meridian Weather.
Hello again and a very good evening to you. I hope you had a lovely day. We have got some pretty unsettled weather for the rest of this week. Some potentially heavy, maybe even thundery showers still around this evening. And then tomorrow, some sunshine, yes, but also still a few pokey showers. And just a heads up that from Wednesday night through into Thursday, we've got warnings in place for further heavy rain and potentially very strong winds as a deep area of low pressure storm Kieran approaches. So let's take a little look at the rest of this evening. The worst of any showers likely to be to the southeast, but overnight we've got further showers moving in again. So a damp end to the night. There could well be some mist and fog around in a few spots and feeling a little bit cool as well. So as we head on into Tuesday, that early rain clears off and actually the rest of the day is fairly nice. We've got some sunny spells, bit of cloud. Yes, there's a few showers and some of them could be heavy, isolated thunderstorms, but plenty of dry weather too. Highs of 13 to 15 like today. And if you're heading out tomorrow evening for Halloween, initially it's okay, but we have got this band of rain moving in, so worth keeping an eye on the forecast and taking an umbrella. And as I said, warnings in place for Wednesday evening and Thursday for heavy rain and potentially very strong winds. Cheerio.
Valent Heat Pumps and Boilers sponsor ITV Meridian Weather.
In just a moment, it's the ITV Evening News with Mary Nightingale.
I've got your late update this evening, just after 10:30, but until tomorrow, thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.